What's up, Grub Squad? Gamer Grub here, bringing you a new video for our zombie MMO tour. This time we'll take an in-depth look at the War Z. If you tuned in a couple of weeks ago, we featured a video where we looked at all of the top MMO games in the zombie genre at the moment. So we're going to sort of take you on a little journey through each of them one by one. In true MMO fashion, War Z starts with the character creation process. As you can see from the video, it's not too bad. There are 7 characters in total to choose from, although I don't know any mechanics that look like that. From all 7 you can choose a variety of different heads and bodies and legs. There's no super in-depth customization in terms of individual facial features, eyes, tattoos, stuff like that, but there's enough there to keep you going. Secondly, we come on to the global inventory system. This is quite a controversial feature as it's different from the other survival MMOs we've played. Basically you can take items after you've died, after you've returned to a safe zone. You can deposit items into a global bank, so when you die you don't lose any of them. Obviously you can't do this anywhere in the world, so it's not completely overpowered. And it does mean that unlike DayZ and other games where once you die everything's gone, you can actually store stuff in a global inventory so it can't be touched, give it to new characters, spawn and give it to friends, all that stuff, so you can gather stuff and hold it permanently. After that we move on to the item mall. As you can see, it's pretty basic item mall. It is quite expensive. You can pay a lot of money for a can of pop, but it's not too bad. There's no weapons yet, so it's not completely pay to win, although there is ammo, which does make the game slightly unbalanced, as guns are quite easy to find, whereas ammo is much more difficult. So we're on the fence about exactly how game breaking that is at the moment, but it's not too bad. After you've created your character's appearance and chosen his username, you get to deck yourself out. Obviously, if you're a new player, you're not going to have access to half of this. New players do get a few items, but they're very minor. You get a torch, a couple of medical supplies. You don't get a weapon or anything like that, but I've been playing the game a while, so I've got some gear I can go into the world with. As you can see, there's different variety of backpacks. Different backpacks can hold different amount of items. There is a weight system, although I don't think it's really counted yet. I mean, I've never once had too much weight in a backpack. I've filled every single slot every single time I've had one, so I don't think any of that's actually working yet, but obviously when it comes into play that's quite a unique feature. You can store quite a lot of stuff on you. As you can see from here, I'm bringing in medical supplies, food, armor, couple of weapons. You always want to make sure you bring a melee weapon with you, because it's the only way you can kill zombies silently. You've got a silencer, but they're not really featured in the game at the moment because there was a couple of issues in regards to balance and that kind of stuff. Once you've created your character and decked him out, you can then join the game world. As you can see, there's tons of servers. At the moment it's just North America and Europe. Russia is on the menu, as you can see, but it's in the pipeworks. It's not actually put in place yet. Each server can hold either a maximum of 50 or 100 players. If you're a new player, I would advise never joining a server with over 20 odd players. It's a complete nightmare. You will get shot pretty much everywhere you go, so you want to try and make sure that you join a low population server until you've got a bit of gear, a bit of knowledge of the map, how the game works, that kind of stuff. So try and join the quiet ones if you can. Once you're in the game, you can pretty much do what you want. There is no objectives right now, there is no quests, nothing like that. They do have a bounty system in the works, they do have missions in the works, but if you've been following the development of this game, it's very slow. They've not updated since before Christmas for a game that was meant to be an alpha. It's been surrounded by controversy. It was added on Steam with a bunch of features on the Steam page that weren't true. They were complete lies. The developers then tried to squeeze a couple of these features in overnight so that they were able to stay on Steam. Valve, however, didn't take it and they took the game off of Steam. So that's one of the problems surrounding it. They have been accused of doctoring screenshots as well. There's a whole load of negative press surrounding the game. So if you want to read more on that, it's on the Gamer Grub blog. You can check it in the description below, so make sure you go and have a look at that. Now, although War Z does feature some pretty good graphics, tons of zombie combat, and some pretty intense PvP, what you will spend most of your time in the game doing is walking. There is lots of walking. There's lots and lots of walking, to the point of where some people actually call it a walking in the forest simulator, because it does perfectly simulate what walking in the forest would be like. I'm not going to bore you with the entire journey, but this is the safe zone I spawned at. You can't choose your spawn, you will spawn in where the game puts you. There are a few spawns, but most of them are quite a distance away from anything. So I'm going to forward fast this bit, but you can see just exactly how much walking is involved just for me to get to the closest town. Wait for it. Not far now. Well, hey, we made it. That walking footage was brought to you at 300% speed, so you can imagine it is quite a lengthy walk, especially if you're having to stop, check around for players, making sure you're not being followed, which is what you have to do whenever you're outside a safe zone. You honestly have no idea where you'll find players hiding. I'll show you a couple of scenes later where you just randomly in the middle of nowhere, you think it's safe as dandy, and then bang, your head's gone and you're dead. As you will see at the minute, this is the first town I've come across. Basically, your entire point of survival is to loot. That's it. You'll find a new town. You'll go in, trying to avoid the zombies and the players, trying to collect loot. You can find anything you can find. Can be anywhere, pretty much. You know, you've got guns, ammo, barricades, food, water, medical supplies, accessories, clothing. It's all there. There are slightly different spawn areas, to the point of where you won't find, you know, the top grade military guns in the middle of a small farming village. But other than the very top stuff, you can pretty much find anything else surrounded by pretty much anything else. If you're doing this solo, it is quite a perilous task. You will find players hiding in all sorts of spots you wouldn't expect. This area I'm in right here is the post office. It's a very popular camping spot because in third person you can hide and make it so that you can't be seen, but you can see anyone else coming inside. One quick shotgun as they walk in, it's game over for that player. It's definitely a much more fun game if you play as a team. You know, if you're looking at playing it, you definitely want to make sure you go with friends, you go with other players, otherwise you will really struggle to get anywhere in the game other than just being bantha fodder for the PvP players. Compared to some of the other games we're going to be reviewing in future videos, the Warzy does have a lot of interiors. You've seen the post office and a little restaurant there. What I'm coming up to here is a shopping mall. These are reused throughout the game quite a lot, but they do offer different weapons and items and stuff. Although there's similar spawn rate, you're not going to find exactly the same stuff every single time you go in, so it does have a bit of variation, and it does pay you for exploring. Obviously, the longer you're spending a town, the more chance you have of running into other players. You've got infinite amount of more possibilities of running into players into a town than you do in the wilderness. It does happen in the wilderness, but there is an awful lot of it, so unless you're running a typical safe run path or anywhere else where players are running from A to B on a regular basis, you'll very rarely encounter someone outside of town. In this particular town here, you've got military Humvees up here. These are good spawns for powerful weapons and rare materials because they are military related, as I mentioned before. They do offer more weapons and stuff like that. Brief bit of zombie combat for you there. If you're walking around a town, you won't usually find massive hordes. They have recently introduced new hordes of zombies, but these are kind of usually on the outskirts or sometimes in the middle of nowhere. But in towns, it's pretty much just 3 melee shots to the head, like that, and they're dead. Obviously, different weapons require different amounts of hits, but the default ones, such as hammer, baseball bat, all that kind of stuff, it's just 3 straight headshots. Anywhere else, you can take dozens upon dozens of hits, so you really have to make sure you're hitting headshots when you're attacking zombies. The same applies to pistols and other weapons. After my short foray into that town, I decided to explore the tunnel, which used to be known as quite a heavy PvP zone, but since they introduced the large-scale zombie hordes, it's drastically reduced the amount of PvP. There is a lot of zombies. As you can see in the video, there are multiple types of zombies. You've just got the random shamblers who just walk around clueless, looking for bodies, and you've got the ones there on the floor. Those ones are the nasty ones. If they're in the grass, you can't even see them until they get up and start attacking you. They just basically just play dead. They are still alive, and they will chase you if you get nearby. Most of the zombies I'm shooting here are just typical ones, obviously different character models and stuff, but they do behave differently depending on the type of zombie. Some of you will run at you a bit different, others will take their time, it will depend. While shooting the zombies, I was kicked out of the game with an already logged in error. Happens sometimes. I wasn't able to get back on that character, so I had to create a new character. I spawned pretty much in the middle of nowhere again, thought I was pretty safe, just exploring the woods as you do in this walking in the woods simulator, until eventually I heard some bullets in the distance. Now bullets are always a bad sign because it means there are players somewhere nearby, and usually it means they're going to kill you if they see you. It's got a very kill on sight community. If any player comes across you and you're armed, even if you're not armed, if you're just carrying a torch, they will shoot you on sight. So you've always got to make sure you see the enemy players first so you can do the same to them before they do it to you. Now, I went to the direction of the shots, not thinking about directions anywhere other than that one shot, and there, yeah. I got killed by someone that could have been miles away. I have no idea where they were, who they were, or why they shot me. So after my somewhat undeserved death on one character, I decided to make a new character. Typical, just default character creation. Went and got all my gear on, spawned into the game world, went to a safe zone, went to leave the safe zone, and there was players behind me, so I was aware of where they were. I had a quick look behind, but I couldn't see any players following me. Thought I was pretty safe. As you just keep going again, you need the safe zone. Your only option is to leave the safe zone or to make a new character. So I didn't really have much choice but to walk off. Thought I was safe hidden in the trees. Bang. Dead again. Don't know where he was. Don't know who he was. Don't know why he killed me. I was relentless in trying to get you guys some decent PvP footage, so I made another character, went to another town that I thought would be relatively quiet, maybe 1 or 2 players. Had to kill a couple of zombies that got in the way. Again, hadn't heard anything, hadn't seen anyone, thought I was safe, just walking along, as you do. Again, no idea where he was, who he was, or why he killed me. So in the end, Warzy promises so much, but delivers on pretty much very little. The majority of the PvP is, as you've seen here, you'll be killed by someone, you have no idea where, why, or how, and that's pretty much it. You know, the game is rampant with hackers right now. Hopefully it's something they're going to address pretty soon. There's also a severe lack of content. It's still fun if you can play with a few friends, you know, get a spotter to spot a town while you're all sitting there searching out and stuff. There are some good points to it, but it just ends up being a frustrating zombie experience, really. The zombies aren't really involved, the survival aspect's not really involved, it's just PvP on a very big map with a couple of NPCs. Stay tuned to the Gamer Grub channel, as we will be releasing more videos on the MMO games that we covered in our zombie tour. If you want to see the zombie tour, you can see a link to it on the screen now. You can also subscribe by pressing that big subscribe button to be sure you don't miss any of our future videos, and be sure to check out the website at gamergrub.com.
Gamer Grub is available at these fine retailers.